read you this book called The Viewer. It's by Gary Crew and Sean Tan. It's got two people because one is the author and one is the illustrator. It is quite mysterious and for the older children in school. Here's the cover, the title page. Can you see that eye in the middle? What is it looking at? Here's the first illustration of a baby on a map with lots of objects. Tristan was curious from birth. This is not to say that he was different from other babies. In fact, he was rather ordinary. But from the moment he opened his eyes, he seemed to be examining the world. As he grew older, Tristan would wander from his parents' house to be found hours later, miles away, and always alone, staring up at a cloudless sky, gathering autumn leaves in a city park, or crouched by the seashore, peering at some long dead life form washed up there. One place attracted Tristan more than any other. The city dump stretched over acres of drifting sand, a vast crescent littered with the detritus of a careless people. But to Tristan, the dump was nothing short of a museum. Every afternoon he searched for interesting objects to take back to his room until curiosity led him to examine them again, as if they might reveal another world. One afternoon, as Tristan scavenged through piles of rubbish, he came upon the most remarkable find of all, a curious box, fashioned from dark wood and burnished metal and covered with detailed engravings. Its lid was locked tight. Here is its lid. Tristan ran his fingers over indecipherable names and patterns, sensing fascination and dread. He picked the box up and carried it home. Later that evening, Tristan left the dinner table early, eager to return to his room to figure out how to unlock the box. Yet the moment he placed it on his desk, the latch snapped open. He carefully raised the lid. The musty odour of entombed air escaped from the dark space inside. Tristan's pulse raced. The box was crammed with intriguing treasures, though all were devices designed to magnify or focus or illuminate. Here are some of them. What attracted Tristan most was an object that appeared to be an old toy, a simple machine that a child might use to view pictures. He picked it up and held it to his eyes. It fitted perfectly, as if custom made, yet through the machine's tiny lenses he could see nothing. Here he is with it held up to his face. Searching the deeper recesses of the box, Tristan found 3 discs of thin metal, each framing a circle of black glass windows, each of them empty. He inserted the first disc into the machine and held it to his eyes. Still nothing. He pressed a lever at the side. From somewhere deep within, a light began to burn. A delicate machinery clattered and chimed. The disc began to turn. One by one, strange images flickered into life. At first, a scene of fearful chaos, then others more luminous and eerie. Here's one. It looks like a storm. Here are lots of the pictures. We can see a Stone Age person, early man. What else can we see? I think I can see a dinosaur. Here are more. I can see Stonehenge. And more. I can see something from the Middle Ages, some knights on horses. What can you see? These sights left Tristan terribly afraid. After removing the third and final disc, he put the machine away. In bed, he descended into a restless sleep, all the while unable to dismiss the feeling of another presence in the room. The next morning, Tristan could not stop glancing towards the machine, even as he left to go downstairs. It sat upright on his desk, as if staring back at him, surely just as he had left it the night before. At school, he could not concentrate. He stared all day at the clock, observing its slow ticking circles, its relentless counting. He could only think about being back in his room, looking into that curious world of images. That evening he lifted the cold eyes of the machine to his own and inserted the first disc. He pressed the lever. The mechanisms whirred and clicked. The light began to burn, and Tristan gasped. The images had changed. Now we can see fire. We see everything has turned black and white. A nurse from the First World War. Lots of ships on the sea. Something like after a plague, where everything is deserted and empty. Afraid, Tristan wanted to pull the machine from his eyes, but something compelled him. Now the text is turning round, against his own wishes, against his own common sense, to slip into the space between one flickering darkness and the next, drifting into a collapsing circle of time. That moment, the eternal present, returning perhaps to a place he had always known. Oh, the book turned upside down there from the spinning. This is the last page with writing on. In the morning, when Tristan had not come to breakfast, his mother called him. There was no answer. When she opened the bedroom door, the musty odour of entombed air spilled into the hall. Tristan's bed was empty. The room unusually neat and tidy, as if he had never been there, as if he had never existed, as if things had always been this way. The only thing that seemed out of place was a box of dark wood and burnished metal on his desk, its lid locked. Curious, she thought, and forgetting why she had come to the room, she returned to her breakfast.